Thanks, Dan. And welcome back, everyone. Right now, I'm joined by Ray Gingras of Everlink Payment Systems and Don Richardson from Acumetrics, the solution provider who helped with the Cognos Express implementation. Welcome, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, Ray, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about Everlink Payment Systems and what you do there and how the organization works.
Okay. Well, I'm the VP of Operation at Everlink. Everlink is a transaction processing system for ATM, POS, and all kind of financial solution services for the Canadian market. Typically, the smaller institutions and the credit union.
So I'm guessing what you do for your customers is mission critical.
Yes, absolutely. So we run a 7x24 operation. So we have a non-stop operation that essentially is mission critical. It can't go down. We have very, very tight service levels that we have to provide to our clients.
And how big is the organization? And how large is the IT function within it?
Yes, we have, to begin with, we've started towards a service excellence that we're trying to provide to our client. We're committed to the ITIL framework, and to that extent, in order to enhance and grow our business, well, first step is to really be in position to measure where you are. In that respect, we've identified several areas that we had gaps or challenges in getting the right data and being positioned to make the decision based on the real facts. There was a lot of cases where amongst our functional teams, we come to the table with different sets of data or different approach, and then we probably spend a little more time than we should trying to figure out what's the right set of data to make a decision upon that. So therefore, we were really looking for a way to solve these issues and get timely reaction, because all the time we wasted in not having the right data at our fingertips is impacting our ability to react to the speed of the market.
So Don, I'd like to bring you into the discussion now. You obviously see a lot of situations similar to the one you saw at Everlink. What was your analysis of the business issues when you first took a look at the situation there?
When we met with Ray and his team at Everlink, in addition to needing better reporting capabilities to see where they're at, they also described the need to realign resources or redeploy resources around critical issues within the business and delivering their services. So it was a combination of what would typically be called a pure BI solution from reporting and dashboards, but also a planning capability. So be able to look at where they are now and make adjustments to the resources within the project management framework at Everlink.
Okay, so then Don, why Cognos Express?
With Cognos Express, it offers that integrated solution that provides the business intelligence reporting. It also has the planning capabilities all rolled into a single product. Being launched back in September, it was ideal for a mid-sized company such as Everlink. Also, it provided the ability to deploy it in phases that matched their business needs. So we can focus on the BI part at the beginning, and then the second phase will include some of the project planning and resource realignment solutions that we're looking for.
Dan talked earlier about thinking big but starting small. Is that the value that Cognos Express brings to the market that perhaps other products don't?
Yeah, actually that's a perfect way to encapsulate how Cognos Express match Everlink's needs. They needed a BI solution first, that's phase one. The planning solution is from a priority base second, but vital. And now we're also looking at the analytics, and with the Cognos Express product, we can facilitate the deployment actually along those lines. We can start with the BI part, we can bring in the planning, we can then take that planning data and roll it into the BI solution. So now not only will they see where they're at, where are they planning to be, and then down the road we'll be folding in the analytics part with the advisor components.
And I suppose for a small or mid-sized organization, the fact that they don't have to turn on all the capability at once is a more cost-effective implementation strategy.
Yeah, so aligning costs with the business needs is part of it, but also with Cognos Express, they have the enterprise technology. So it isn't a scaled down solution. It's just been bundled to provide mid-sized companies the ability to do just that, is take that enterprise technology, deploy it in phases that match their business needs, and align your costs with the benefits.
So Ray, when you implement a BI solution in an organization like Everlink, there's some fundamental changes that have to occur in process and in the way that staff work. How did you enlist the support of the various stakeholders as you moved into this implementation?
Well, we were all confronted with a challenge. We all were in agreement that we had a challenge in accessing data timely and being positioned to make the right decision. So from that perspective, it was a well-recognized issue that we have. Now, obviously, we're all very busy with what we do, and there's always this fear that you may get bogged down introducing something that you may be impacting your ability to continue to do your work. So there's a little fear there. And back to the point, and this is of starting small, thinking big. Absolutely, this was the fundamental point there, that going into this, the buy-in was by, well, let's start with a small win somewhere, and then let's grow. And what's the best place to start? We've all had to look at where our biggest challenge and the biggest payback and visibility would be. So from that perspective, the buy-in, obviously, looking at the cost, we had to look at all of the various alternatives, and in looking at the opportunity and capability of the Cognos suite, really was in some respect a little beyond what we were going for. So that make that component very attractive, and of course then it all back to let's get a quick win and really convince ourselves that we've made the right decision.
Obviously then involved training for your staff and training throughout the organization. How did you tackle that one?
Well, that's a very good question. Again, this was a big question mark, how we would be able to tackle this piece. The way we started small. We had a smaller team with some of the expertise, and with the professional services from Acumetrics, they brought to the table some expertise that really helped us. They even brought some flexibility into how to approach, because obviously for us it's new, we're not quite sure how to go about. We kind of have in mind where we're trying to get, but how to get there is not so straightforward. So the flexibility they brought in to tackle a certain piece up front and by phase allowed us to bring the right staff at the right time to get them exposed to this, so that we have a core team that spend times here and there when it's required, and work on the tools with the help of Acumetrics, which eventually then brought us to a certain level. And now time is to bring the lower level users to the table for training. So it turned out to be I would say a pleasant exercise, because the training was actually phased in as part of the implementation. So it was like a real life scenarios, like you're not just trained on the product, but you're actually say, here's how you're going to do it, and you can practice on this.
So Don, you do this for a lot of organizations. What are some of the best practices you see in terms of training?
Similar to the deployment of the software and doing that in phases, we like to approach training in the same way, and we work on a knowledge transfer sort of methodology, if you will. To sit in a classroom and get a lot of training can be very useful if you have a large organization, but with small teams, it's quite frankly a bit more effective to do a bit of the sort of one-on-one or one-on a couple of people. And we like to focus on the power user skills first, develop some of the solution and the requirements, roll out the solution, and then train the users on that solution. So in addition to learning the software, they're familiar with the data that they're going to be working with going forward, and then they have the confidence that they know how to use the tools, and they've learned how to access their business information to get at what's important for them.
So Ray, I realize you're not fully implemented yet. You're kind of through phase one, though. I'm wondering what some of the benefits you've seen for the organization in very practical terms, and maybe even some of the benefits that you see coming that you might not have anticipated previously.
Well, the very first benefit is the time, I would say the timing of getting access to the data, where we've experienced in the past, like you're looking for a certain set of data would take a little more work to have that at your fingertips. So the time saving is one of the key elements that was observed. In addition to that is actually the accuracy of the data. Because as I mentioned earlier, well, we quite often spend time debating among ourselves the data we're looking at, where it's coming from and how it was put in place and whether it's the right data. Well, now part of the implementation, the data source is assessed from the source, so that we know that it's accurate. So therefore, there's no more debate. So the accuracy is there, and we can react timely, and we can actually drill down to whatever level we need to, which again, in the past, from the time you look at one set of data, typically would drive more question. Well, now we have the ability to drill down to the level you need instantly. So that's quite a benefit. With respect to what benefit, well, in going through the implementation, we've actually identified several areas that we never thought we could actually be in position to do. So now users are coming to the table and say, geez, maybe now we can actually access certain things, and the reality is absolutely. So we see benefit that we didn't think we would be able to do, and now we have that capability that we see up front. Now, of course, once there's certain view that we should rush to get that done, but at the same time, we've got to make sure that we get the foundation solid, and then we move forward. So we've identified several areas that we can leverage as we move forward.
So I understand that you've been able to now prove where and when you're meeting your contractual obligations, but it's also, from what we discussed yesterday, it seems that it's also enabled you to point out perhaps some deficiencies in the business processes that some of the other partners have.
Well, yes, as you have the data, we've identified, sometimes you realize that there was inconsistencies in the data that you were looking at, and it allows you to, I guess now identify that there was some process behind and how the data was being populated, that the processes were not being followed, or even in time to realize that the responsibility and ownership might have been at the wrong place. So now you can actually see from the data flow, process flow, that there's some adjustment that need to be made as a result of that, so that you have the accountability and responsibility in the right place.
So in your business, you're part of a value chain for your customers that includes the financial institution, that includes yourselves, the people who provide the ATMs, the people who service them and fill them with money. How has this solution enabled you to get some of the processes in that value chain improved?
When the clients have reviewed their reports that we provide them with, there's time where they may have question in determining where some of the issues or service may not have been met. What we have identified, or now we have the ability to have more accurate report, extracting from the right data point, as opposed to trigger on some of the manual entry that we had in the past, which sort of invalidate the report to the client. So the clients, once you explain a scenario why in this particular case the report didn't look good, when you have to identify that it was due to manual procedure entry that was not captured properly, that sort of invalidates the report a little bit. So now we're much better equipped to say we've got a rock solid report. So whatever it says, it's backed up.